Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the entertainment headquarters and Kaiju Connections. And like always, I have got a host of amazing guests to talk about a feature film that is part of my, month of Kong segments. And of course, we have to talk about a film starring a very special lady who I will be interviewing very soon and introducing and putting that interview out to the world. And we have to talk about King Kong Escapes. So, King Kong Escapes was the second outing by Toho Studios with the King Kong character, who, as you know, back in 1933, King Kong was introduced to the world and became a cinematic icon. And here we are again with Toho Studios to talk about his adventures within the world of, the Showa era. And I guess he is technically a part of the Showa era. But to talk about him and to talk about this particular film starring the lovely Linda Jo Miller, I have, as always, my co-host, Mr. DJ Anubis, Mr. Tony of the Dead, fellow kaiju enthusiast, Mr. J. Cole, who I've just realised you should be in the middle, my friend. Mr. Anthony Jordan, Mr. Sci-Fi Sentry, Mr. Daniel Miller, the Professor, and of course our Mr. Sexual Chocolate, Mr. Jedi Grand Velle, Walter Ross.
Yes, sir.
Always on the bottom.
Mhm.
But I like it on the bottom.
But like I say, this is our night to talk about this particular film. And so, as always, we'll start with the same question we'll always start with: our first time viewing King Kong Escapes. So, Mr. DJ Anubis, would you like to take it away?
Yeah, so preparing for this, I saw this probably about 3 or 4 days ago for the first time ever. I was always aware of the film because of the Mechani-Kong, but I never actually sat down and watched it. But I finally did, and I actually came out really, really enjoying this film. I actually liked it a lot. It's a little corny in some areas, but we kind of expect that sometimes. But it's also my first chance to see Gorosaurus, his introduction to the kaiju world, which I didn't know this was the film that did it. So that was a lot of fun too. But yeah, this is like a whole new world for me with the Kong stuff. Like I had never seen this, so I was pretty pleased.
Yes. Yeah, Mr. Tony of the Dead.
Today. First time watching it today. But yeah,
you bought it, right? You bought it, right?
I bought them because I'm like, I want to get them anyway, regardless if I don't like it or not. But I did like this one. I enjoyed it as well. Like Anubis said, it's corny a little bit, but like it it has heartwarming moments and shit like that. So
Was that Gorosaurus?
yeah, because of I thought you were saying heartfelt moments because of Gorosaurus. Like, yeah, I felt bad for him. Kind of do feel bad because they come along and they're just doing their thing, and then it's just like they get trampled. I was gonna eat her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you bought it. I'm glad that you kind of enjoyed it. It'd be great to hear your thoughts throughout, this discussion.
Thank you.
Mr. Anthony Jordan.
Well, first time I've seen it once on TNT when I was maybe in the second grade, I want to say maybe third grade, and didn't see it again till I got this in 2014. Enjoyable movie, one of the then only 2 outings where Kong actually didn't die in his movie. So for that alone, it's stood out for a little on its own, but good, fun little Kong movie.
Mr. J. Cole.
Yeah, first time I watched it, I got the DVD before the Blu-ray came out, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, and I became a huge fan of this guy right here. So, and yeah, it's corny enough, especially with Kong with the wiggly arms and all that. But oh no, it was an enjoyable film.
Yes. Sci-Fi Century.
Oh man, I saw this later, like probably like when I was like maybe 11, 12, and it was another creature feature when I was staying with my grandfather, and I saw there was a Mechani-Kong, and then I saw the part where Mechani-Kong like blinds Kong with that little light on his head, and then he hits him, and then I was like, oh wow. So there's not only a Mecha Godzilla, but then there's a Mechani-Kong. I'm like, okay, well, yeah. And I saw it, man. I sucked it up. I was young, and then I rewatched it like a few years ago. Yeah, man. I mean, it's Kong. That Kong suit. Well, and it looked a little better than Godzilla, King Kong versus Godzilla. That's for sure. But it was it's just yeah, it's a fun film, man. A lot of laughs, a lot of corny stuff. You need a little bit of cheese, but at least the cheese wasn't rotten, wasn't spoiled. So
it's good cheese.
Yeah, I'll give Mr. Tony a pass, but Anubis, how dare you barely watch this movie? How dare you barely watch this movie, man? Like, come on.
It's
I disagree with you on the Kong, though. At least that Kong didn't look like a bobblehead in the water.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
Well, that too. But I mean, they both were. Especially when he was in the water, the suit, man, you just see the suit just melt, and you can see Haruo Nakajima's skinny little arms and everything. So, yeah, that's true.
Because the suit that they use in this one isn't the same suit, is it, that they used in Godzilla vs.
Right.
This feels like it was stolen from the set of Barney the Dinosaur. And
Which just so happens is going to be at Chiller.
I think this suit was made a little easier to get Nakajima out of, because the suit in King Kong versus Godzilla, it had to be sewn shut.
Yeah.
I think also the kind of movie it is, I think they deliberately made this movie more kid friendly and give him more like a friendly kid look, and I generally believe it's because this came out the same year as Son of Godzilla, I think.
Yes.
Which, as you know, was it was a kid-friendly movie, so I think they tried to, even though they're both produced by Toho, I think they wanted to try and keep that tone for that year with its releases, especially when it came to the big monster movies, the kaiju films. Mr. Daniel Miller, can you remember the first time you saw this film?
Yes, I can. The first time I saw this movie was when was for Christmas back in 2017. No, that's a different Christmas. This was Christmas in 2012 when I was given this box set, which still had the sticker on it. So value for this, yeah. And I was looking at the back, and it's like, oh, King Kong Escapes. I know of this movie, but never actually saw it. So I popped it in, watched it, and yeah, it wasn't what I was originally expecting, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. It's a fun, clunky at times adventure movie with an interesting direction, at least for a King Kong story. It is dated now, looking back at it, but the first time I watched it at that young an age, I was like, wow, this is interesting. That, and also this is the introduction of Gorosaurus, who I originally knew first from Destroy All Monsters.
Yes.
So yeah, it was good to see not only another King Kong movie produced by Toho, but also the debut of another one of Toho's kaiju in their long-running roster of characters.
Yes.
Is he? What's his name?
Gorosaurus.
Gorosaurus.
I can't understand when y'all talking at the same time.
Use your
Now you go back and replay my question and listen to the answer. You tell me if you could decipher anything.
Well, that's because we all
Tony's
understood.
right.
I was gonna. What other movie is he in?
Destroy All Monsters.
Does he have like a bigger part in that one?
He helps out in the,
yes.
yeah.
Well,
he helps
he
out in the
does.
final battle with his jump kick that he does in King Kong Escapes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he kicks Ghidorah on the ground, and then they just literally beat him to death.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just
So,
dogpiles the rest of them.
Yes. So
Yeah, he could jump. Yeah, he could.
Yeah.
yes, because he has like a kangaroo kick as his main weapon.
Well, you got kangaroo arms. He's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't say those are kangaroo arms.
Yes.
Kangaroo,
of course you would.
Kangaroo alike.
Yeah, so Mr. Jedi Granville, can you remember the first time you saw this film?
This is weird, but I remember exactly the moment that I saw this film, and it's going back almost over 40 years ago. Halloween night of '84.
Was it
a
raining?
double. No, it wasn't raining. That's the thing. No, it wasn't raining. It was just very dark, and I was particularly the kind of person who didn't want to go out at Halloween because at that time it was very sketchy. People walking the roads and everything, but it was Halloween night, and it was double billed with King Kong versus Godzilla. And when I happened to find out about it, I went over to my sister's house because, again, this is at a time when I didn't have cable. So I went over to her house and I watched it. I'm saying, okay, let me watch King Kong versus Godzilla. I'm saying, okay, get that out of the way. I've seen that like multiple times. Now let's see what this film is, King Kong Escapes. I don't know what's going to be. Get into it. And I'm just like, well, is this going to be interesting with just King Kong in this? True enough, he's been in other outings, but I'm like, maybe so. But this was done by Toho, so I didn't know what to expect. And as Daniel said, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't expect it to be what it was. It's a very intriguing, piecemeal. And as what the Queen was saying, I kind of agree what she said. It's more like a James Bond outing if you think about it, because it's got some things in there that's kind of James Bondian a little bit, and it's just crazy. It's just a crazy ride, But yeah, that's when I first watched it.
Well, it does have a Bond girl. It does have a Bond girl, Japanese Bond girl. So.
Which incidentally came out the same year. To You Only Live Twice came out that same year as this film did.
Yes.
Everything's aligning.
She's a good-looking henchman.
What you often find, I think, is you'll get a film studio that it's going to release like a big budget movie, so they hire an actress, and this actress, I guess, with that particular studio or producers, they suddenly then get offered another role in a similar film that they're producing or some sort, and you'll often find a particular actress is in two films that are very similar or have a similar tone, and I generally think it's because it's through the people they work with they get like the role. So the fact that actress was involved in a Bond movie and also a kaiju movie, it might have been the people who were connected that got involved in both. As for me, I'm very similar to Mr. Daniel Miller. My first time viewing this movie was many years ago when this box set was released. This is one of my pride and joys having this box set because I got to finally see two kaiju movies by Toho I never had the opportunity to see, which was, of course, Godzilla. It's Godzilla versus King Kong, obviously, and King Kong Escapes. And, you know, I thoroughly enjoyed them both, but I'm going to be completely truthful. Apart from the impact that Godzilla versus King Kong made in 1962, the crossover with the two different properties, you know, having these two iconic characters on the big screen, which showed you that it can work for different actors and characters and all of that stuff. I have to be honest, I always have preferred King Kong Escapes over Godzilla vs. King Kong. I think it's a much more fun film. And I like the fact that it does have that kind of espionage, kind of King Kong, you know, take over the world type feel to it, which is what it's all about. So let's get into not Godzilla versus Kong. That was fucking yesterday.
Yeah.
Let's get into King Kong Escapes. That is the one.
I would agree, though, Kevin. I enjoyed this one way more than King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
I like them both equally, personally.
Look at Sci-Fi is talking Japanese. Godzilla. He's around the mountains.
Yeah, we got to dub Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
Wait for your signal.
No, Kong. Don't change the ship.
What?
Destroy Godzilla. Beat him to death.
That ship.
Well, yes, I ran out of toothpaste. I'm Mr. Who. How do you know?
Yeah. You weren't on the
He's
phone.
none the wiser.
Miller, were you? You wasn't on the phone to Linda Miller, was he?
You must have been.
She canceled.
No, sorry, guys. They were calling me from my. They called me from my MRI, and I couldn't.
No, that's
ignore
fine.
it, so.
Health is important. Health is important. Without your health, you've got nothing. Can't do nothing. So, health is important.
Yeah.
We were filling in the blanks for you. We were doing voiceover work for you.
Right?
Yeah.
But
I heard it.
Oh,
wow. Never mind. So you might have heard me mention that. Oh, I misplaced my strap on. So.
I think I'm having a bad influence on Jedi.
No, that would be me.
Yeah, he was like this before meeting you.
Yes.
Everybody comes into these groups like Jake, quiet, and then eventually they open their mouths and then big strap-ons
It's
come
only
out.
a matter of time. It's only a matter of time.
No, I like that. Be comfortable.
Jake. There he is.
There he is.
You know, hey.
Are you comfortable, Jake?
Jake, Hiroshi King Kong. He don't even say shit.
He's trying to have the spit take right now.
Jake's gonna be like, I really hate you, motherfuckers.
You're right.
Terrible at poker.
Keep it up. This is my last show. Swear to God.
I'm retiring.
That's right, and it's not to be confused with the British Doctor Who, although that would be a very interesting plot twist.
Yes.
Didn't they like make a reference to that though? Like this room is a lot bigger than the ship.
Yes, they did. They did.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, let's get back to the matter at hand and talk about King Kong Escapes. So, King Kong Escapes is a 1967 kaiju film directed by Ishiro Honda with special effects by Daniel. You go ahead, see his name.
Easy Tsuburaya.
That's the man. The film was a Japanese-American co-production between Toho and Rankin Bass and stars Rhodes Reason, Linda Jo Miller, Akira Takarada, Mie Hama, and I can't even say the other two people's names.
Eisei Amamoto and Haruo Nakajima.
Thank you. As King Kong in Hiroshi, Sekita as Mechani-Kong and Gorosaurus. So he actually was in the suit and did both those characters. The film is loosely based on Rankin Bass series The King Kong Show and was the second and final Toho produced film featuring King Kong until its collaboration with Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures on Godzilla vs. Kong 2021. King Kong Escapes was released in Japan on July the 22nd, 1967, and released in the United States on June the 19th, 1968. It is the fourth entry in the King Kong franchise.
I swear it's so funny as I've been going down this road with you guys on these films and everything, you know, just looking back. I don't know why I didn't really pay attention initially, but now I see Takarada everywhere. And so I look at his IMDb and I'm like, dude, this dude was in everything. Like I still can't believe it, but I just recognize him like this now. It's like, oh, I know him.
Well, let's see. Like I know there's many well-known actors that all had more than one role in the Showa era, but he literally was the Showa era.
Yeah.
Like he was the face, he was the man of the Showa era. It's like even if it was the smallest role, he was there from the beginning, and he was there right at the end in Final Wars.
Yep.
You know, and it still pisses me off and bums me out. And I you know, I keep mentioning it, how for a 23-second clip they wouldn't put it in to Godzilla 2014 because if they had, you know, that would have been a full circle moment that he not only was in the franchise from the very beginning, but he actually crossed the waters and made it into the American films. And that would have been
a nod of respect too. Like so many missed opportunities with that, man.
Like it just does. It like he was in his 80s or his 90s, so the film company they flew him out to Canada, they put him up in a hotel, they made him feel comfortable, they did all that work with him. He filmed his cameo, he flew back to Japan, and as you can imagine, at 90 or 8 in his 80s, that would have been a very tiring journey to travel from Japan to Canada. Like 14, 15, maybe 17 hours. He put himself through it, and I just think it's a bit of a disrespect. And for me, the biggest disrespect is the excuse they give. They wanted the film to have more of a family element, and that the thought felt it was taking it away. It's a 23-second clip of him, of Joe Brody, the character Joe Brody, walking up to the desk in the terminal at the airport and simply saying, you know, Takarada just simply says to him, passport. He showed him his passport, and the next line is, have a good flight.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
You know the weird
that shit in there.
But you know the weird thing is he gets a credit in the film's ending credits, but he's not in the film. That makes no absolute fucking sense. You know, I mean, yeah, give him the credit, but don't put him in the damn picture. Okay, what
That's
sense?
One of the cases where it should have been studio override, and they said no, you're keeping this clip in.
Right.
Well, Gareth Edwards, in every interview where he's been asked about, he gives that excuse, but I think it's what he was told to say.
Yeah,
because I think Gareth Edwards wanted him in the movie. He is a fan of the Godzilla movies, the franchise, in the Showa era. So why would he include that scene with that character in, fly him out, not for him to be in the film? So for me, that's not a Gareth Edwards problem. It's a studio problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's what it is.
Studio interference.
True.
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about the cast, because this is where the fun begins. So you have your three leads. You obviously have Rhodes Reason, who plays Commander Carl Nelson. Then you have Akira Takarada as Commander Jiro Nomura. I think I said that. Jiro Nomura. You have Linda Jo Miller as Susan Watson. And who and you have the character of Doctor Who.
Almost.
Wrong one.
Did you change the picture? I can't even tell.
Actually, I was gonna say it almost fits him a little bit, you know? Yeah.
That is like uncanny.
Right.
Do it again. Do it again.
So yes. So who was
Imagine
this?
if it were John Pertwee as the villain in a kaiju movie. That would be amazing.
Actually, I think it would actually work because they would have had like with him being British, having a British villain in a Toho film would have been epic.
Yes.
What we technically have then is the Master masquerading as the Doctor.
Yes.
Holy shit, that's right.
And then you have this lovely lady.
Mie Hama.
Hama Mie.
Mie
Mamma
Hama.
mia.
Mamma mia.
And
Yeah,
you know what I love?
Hama
The
Mie.
love. And what I love about this character is her name. Her name in this is Madame Piranha.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got Doctor Who, and you've got Madame Piranha. This just screams Doctor Who spin-off / meets James Bond. He gets trapped in the TARDIS, and he ends in an alternative universe, and they've got to save the world from kaiju.
Yeah.
That's what this is to me.
All with the sonic screwdriver.
Someone
Right.
please make that an actual series.
Yes.
Please.
Or-
It has to happen.
Or Daniel, you write the comic book, or you write the radio screenplay, and you talk it yourself.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, Daniel can narrate it. Sure, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. You make that shit happen.
The Doctor ran as quick as he could to the TARDIS door, but the compartment wouldn't open. He turned around and saw 3 strangers holding guns at them.
Hey, what are you doing there?
He's narrating.
No, I know. I'm doing the background voices.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah.
He's running down the hall.
The Doctor manages to give the men the slip, and they break off.
Remember
looking
those
out the
days?
individual corridor.
Everybody would do sound effects behind the narration.
Reaching into his pockets, he managed to use a sonic screwdriver to open a locked compartment and enter the dark abyss inside.
It's a sonic probe.
So,
And that's
since
why
we're
we
talk-
dubbed the. That's why we dubbed the professor.
Well, I'm gonna be messaging Daniel tomorrow because I've come up with an idea.
Oh,
Nice. Okay.
So
Make sure to use plenty of lube.
There you go.
no,
There might be
that's the
some
other.
left over at
no.
Diddy's house.
No,
no,
that's a different.
Don't go to Diddy's house. That'd be too much of that.
No,
Too
that's a
much
different.
Whoa.
no, that's for you, Sci-Fi. I'm the other Daniel. You're the Daniel getting the lube.
Oh!
Oh.
Oh, ye snap.
I got a woman, man. I don't need that.
Well, anyway, that also.
Anyway.
Anyway, let's carry on.
Let's get cracking, Kevin.
Hello, Mama Loki.
Yes,
I love you, Daniel. I love you, Daniel.
Let's get cracking.
Yeah.
So the plot goes: an evil genius named Doctor Who create Mechani-Kong, a mecha version of King Kong, to dig for the highly radioactive element X, found only at the North Pole. Mechani-Kong enters in an ice cave and begins to dig into a glacier, but the radiation destroys its brain circuit and the robot shuts down. Doctor Who then sets his sight on getting the real King Kong to finish the job. So, straight away, quite a strong opening. Opinions of how the film begins. We'll start with Mr. DJ Anubis.
Yeah, I like it. In some ways, for whatever reason, we always got these like icy starts. So like whether it's the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms or Gamera, we always got like some Antarctic type starting point for some of these kaiju films. But I like it. I thought it was cool. The middle monkey was interesting. The plot's cool. Certainly, I thought it was kind of funny that they were just barely getting the Mecha-Kong going, and then it just fell apart. All of a sudden, started having issues. And I kept waiting for that guy from Armageddon, the Russian, to start banging something again. You shall work, and he's banging like the wrench to get it to work. Yeah, but yeah, I thought it was very interesting and pretty cool idea for the plot. Like it was a lot of fun the way it started out. I enjoyed it. Yeah, the whole Mecha Godzilla vibe.
Well, you
Look
see,
at that clip, how he's just barely big enough to fit through.
Yes.
Yeah.
His big guns. It's like,
well,
can't
yeah.
get through.
I'll be honest. Obviously, everybody knows Mecha Godzilla. Everybody, like I say, I didn't see this film until I got the box set, and I had seen Terror Mecha Godzilla, Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla many, many times before I got to see that one. So, of course, me being a younger brain and not knowing times and differences, I actually thought they had copied basically Mecha Godzilla, yeah, Mecha Godzilla. That the when he comes out of the ground and out of the base, Mecha Godzilla. I'm assuming, oh look, they're just copying Mecha Godzilla, but in actual fact, it's the other way around because Mechani-Kong did it before. And to be honest, I really like the character of Mechani-Kong, and even if they couldn't continue using King Kong, it's a shame that in some way they couldn't have continued using the Mechanical Kong and brought that in and made it a full-fledged Toho character. Mr. Tony the Dead, how do you feel about the beginning of this movie?
I agree with Anubis again. They all do seem to start off like that with like Arctic kind of thing, which I guess makes sense because like nobody goes there and it's too cold to go there. But I didn't know about which the word Mechani-Kong is funny sounding. I have to think before I say it, but dare I say that it was cute. He was very, very cute, and like I kind of wish like somehow he would have malfunctioned and like became good. Jake, you turned into a dog.
Oh my God. What happened to you?
Lick your balls, boy. We want the views.
Actually, you kind of made an interesting point because it does look a little bit too cute for a menacing villain.
Yeah.
So I kind of do wish it had a little bit more evil look to it.
He looks very friendly.
Yeah, he does.
Yes,
like I would love to I'd love to give him a hug.
Maybe the idea was that he was going to be smiling while he took over the world. Like, I'm Mr. Nice Guy. Smash.
Yeah.
He
He
literally
looks
has
like
a teddy
he should
bear
be
face.
burying villagers out of a flood.
Yeah.
Like I think the reason that they never made Mechani-Kong, if that dog doesn't like me, but
Dog doesn't like gingers.
As long as we don't have a repeat of Alexa doing anything, we'll be all right.
Oh no.
yes, but
That's the live version. You can't shut that one up.
so like I always found it fascinating with Mechani-Kong, like because yes, he's very cute looking, but I think he looks very much straightforward looking. Like there's no menacing in him, but he just looks like a standard robot type. And I think the reason they couldn't make him any more frightening, or because when you look at Mecha Godzilla, he looks quite, terrifying at times, especially when he's turning his arms and he's got the missile for fingers and stuff like that. I think another reason why they probably didn't make the villain too frightening is because they knew this was aimed at like a family audience. Like me and Anubis did our that is Mechagodzilla. Oh well, that's Kyu. That is Mechagodzilla, who looks more frightening than Mechani-Kong.
That's Mechagodzilla there, Sentries. That's Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I like the new Mechagodzilla, but I still like the original one, the way it looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the design of the Mechagodzilla in Godzilla versus Kong, the designer for that was influenced by the Terminator. So when it's got the glowing red eyes, it's just pure steel, silverized metal. It's because it's meant to look like a skeletized mechanical version of the original Godzilla, a bit like how the T2
1000.
the
T800.
the T1000, how that's just like a mimicking of a human skeleton.
Right.
So me and Anubis were also talking when we did our discussion, our kaiju discussion, and we ended up talking about Son of Godzilla, how the Son of Godzilla is very cute looking. Godzilla is weird looking. But the thing for me that sees that film is because it had a very intimidating and scary villain in it, and that was Kumonga, the giant spider. Where that's probably the most disadvantaged thing I can see about this film is that the villain isn't frightening. He's just okay. And I think another reason why they made this Kong not frightened because he's not the real villain. The real villain is Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And they wanted to showcase the human villain more, I guess, than the kaiju villain. But Anthony Jordan, your opinion of the beginning of this movie?
It's just I don't mean this in a bad way, but for this, it's a typical type of setup you would expect out of a film like this. And, it's one of those, it never hurts to go back to the basics and just a good setup. Interesting with the mechanical Kong. And I want to add, though, that suit looks like it was not comfortable for the actor to wear at all.
Probably not.
No.
Yeah. Jake Hall.
The introduction to Mechani-Kong, it was an interesting design. Hi. Are you trying to steal my spotlight, huh?
Yes.
He's already done that.
But anyway, it was interesting that this was the first robotic kaiju to be made before Jet Jaguar or Mechagodzilla. And it's interesting how we start out with the film like we're in the submarine. Nelson, Jiro, and Susan are all talking about the island as a project, and then we go to Doctor Who, who's built the mechanical robot version of Kong, Mechani-Kong. Then he sends them out as Madame Piranha is looking on, sitting here saying, "Our country will not approve if he can't get this Ultimate X." So, sitting here doing all this, dropping these grenades down this crack to try to loosen up and then it ends up falling into the crack, then trying to dig through the ice.
There's a lot of crack going on.
Yeah.
Can you say crack one more time?
1 second, Jake. 1 second. 1 second.
Here you go.
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Well, anyway, he's digging through the ice to try to get to the Element X. And as usual, the Element X is so powerful and radiated, it fries the circuit, and it ends up going. Yeah. I'm not going to say the other word because I'm not going to get blown up again. So.
What word?
I promise.
What word?
Yeah, what word's that? I kind of forgot.
Nope.
The
You
bottom
bent
of the
over?
abyss.
No. But anyway, so its
Lick
brain's fried.
Jake's like, I should have just stayed in the chat.
Yeah.
Take your
Poor
time.
guy. Go ahead, Jake. You got
Yes.
it. You got this.
Yeah.
Just
Uh-huh.
let's just let Jake finish.
Yes.
That still didn't sound right, but okay.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Oh,
You're joining the club.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Proud of you.
But
One of
anyway,
us.
so Doctor Who and Madame Piranha argue over. It's like, once I get the Riddle Kong, it will go along better. And she's like, you better, otherwise our country will your project.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done.
Yay.
Sci-fi Century, you're up.
Well, how can I best describe that it's so much of a Showa era introduction, and I like the submarine coming in there, them showing the inside of the submarine, and then of course Akira Takarada, Rhodes Reason, the lovely and sweet Linda Miller. I'm glad they didn't show Kong right away, which is good. And then it's just like your basic Showa era introduction, something new. It's got an American production too, so you could tell they tweaked up little things, made little things a little bit different. But yeah, there you go. The starring three of the film, and yeah, man, I mean 60s Showa style. Look at that Kong hitting his boobs and everything. And,
Right.
yeah, so it's. I mean, like you said, it's Toho at its best, and it does have that vibe of 007 meets kaiju, and Madame Piranha. We have a Bond girl, and the Japanese actor who plays Doctor Who. Man, even just a little tidbit here that when I did my interview with Linda Miller, she said that the actor that played Doctor Who was such a hilarious guy that he was always in character, even during like the outtakes, even off, like he was always in character, even when they weren't shooting. And she said that he used to make her laugh all the time. He used to prank people and everything like that. So, but yeah, it's a basic introduction to what could
Hello,
be a
Chris.
Showa era, especially with Kong and everything. So.
Yes. So, Mr. Daniel Miller.
I like this introduction because it brings us to characters on both the good and the bad side of the story. It shows us Linda Miller, Akira Takarada, and Rhodes in the submarine as they're describing an island where they found steps made from ancient ruins that are much bigger for a human being to traverse. Meanwhile, in the Arctic, there's an evil corporation going on. They have a mechanical version of Kong that can barely fit through its exit port when going up onto the surface, and as a means to extract this mysterious element X. So already there is a lot being established here. There's an adventure plot going along with an espionage, Cold War plot going on alongside it. But yeah, it was interesting to see the actor playing Doctor Who, how he's very animated, very physically expressive. Like when Mechani-Kong fails, he turns to his operator, he's like, "What are you doing? Get it up!" It's like, and the operator, he's shitting his pants. He's like, "But I didn't do anything. It's not responding." But yeah. You just got to appreciate. I appreciate the little things like that in a movie. But yeah, the introduction to Mechani-Kong, brilliant.
And also going back to the lovely Linda Miller, we need to remember this was the second time outside of, you know, Faye Ray, you know, that we had an actress playing like the woman that Kong falls for.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
for me is a huge, you know, accomplishment. And, you know, I appreciate it. You know, she's such a talented actress. And the great thing about Linda Miller's story is she wasn't a trained actress. She was somebody who went to Japan as a young girl with her father, who was in the military. She basically was, you know, in school over there. She learned Japanese. She integrated herself well. She had a neighbor who was doing magazine photo shoots for like young teenage girl magazines. The next thing you know, somebody seen her because they wanted a young white American actress, and the producers and you know the casting directors didn't know who to turn to. They seen Linda on the front of one of these magazines because thanks to her neighbour, she got the opportunity to go in these magazines as well. And just by chance, and you know when they say you've got to be in the right place at the right time for things to happen, she was in the right place at the right time. Somebody seen it on the front of one of these magazines, and instantly the director went, I want that girl. Because yes, she had the look, and it's okay having the look, but you've also got to be able to perform. And even, you know, people can say what they want, but she had no acting experience. And she put her heart and her soul into this movie. And it's because she put her heart and her soul into this movie, she is still very much remembered to this day by all of the kaiju community.
Yes. And get this,
Kevin, can I just add? Can I add on top of that? Sorry.
Go ahead.
It was Arthur. It was Arthur Rankin that. It was Arthur Rankin that got in touch with her after seeing one of her magazine covers when she was doing teenage modeling in Japan, and it took some convincing. It took some convincing because just like Kevin said, she had no acting experience whatsoever. So
Isn't
it
it
took
kind
some
of funny
convincing.
though
But
that what happened with her is kind of similar to what happened to Fay Ray and King Kong? She was just on the street, and the director said, "I need her. I need her."
It's true.
yeah, well, no, yeah, and the fact that she was very she was super conscious about it, but she got over it over time. But she, like Kevin said, she did a great job for having no acting experience. She's still remembered for that. And one thing I wanted to mention before the Mechani-Kong, I just gotta mention it before we get to Sexual Chocolate Jedi Granville. It was so hard to take that Mechanical Kong seriously, man. It was so hard for me to take it seriously as I got older. I was like, man, like that looks like a pretty like goofy, derpy robot. But after a while, so you just build that appreciation. So I just thought to just point that out. But it's that's how I think about it. Go ahead, Jedi Granville. My bad.
No, I was just gonna point out with the fact that, you know, she gets spotted and they pick her. You know, the thing is, she was only 19 when she started in this film. You know, she wasn't even 20 yet. And the fact that she was that young but had that inexperience but able to pull it off so well that she did, I don't think too many people can do that. That just shows she's a natural talent. You know, she's somebody that was just gifted to do this. You know, I mean, even though she didn't go on through the years acting in anything or anything like that, because pretty much after the beginning of the 70s, she pretty much, you know, kind of retired from celebrityism. But that just shows right there where her heart was, and she did the best job she did with what she did back then with this movie and a couple other films and a few television shows. And it just shows right there, like I say, she gave her best in all, even though she was not a trained actor. But to me, like I say, some people just have a natural talent to pull off something. Because I'm gonna tell you, I've seen some people, and they tell me before, like, this person never had any training whatsoever, and I'm just like, really? You you did a better job than I would think any of these other actors who've been in, been trained to do. They're terrible. You seem like you came out of the box running with it, and that's what she was. She definitely pulls it off very well.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I agree. Definitely a natural actress. And you never know, we might be seeing her back on our screens real soon. So,
Yep, I agree, Enoch. Definitely agree.
yes. So, like I say, so as the plot progresses, after we're introduced to our main villains, meanwhile, a submarine commanded by Carl Nelson arrives at Mondo Island, where the legendary King Kong lives. Here, the great ape gets into an intense fight with a giant dinosaur, Gorosaurus. I think the first kaiju battle in this film was my favourite, I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
The battle between Gorosaurus and Kong, for me, was a fun battle. And I love the idea of Gorosaurus. I think he's a great looking kaiju. And the fact that they basically excelled on him in Destroy All Monsters. He has a behind the scene photo of him on. I don't know why, but on the behind the photo scene, he's actually in the North Pole. So I want to know, he has a great bit of the battle. I'll quickly show this. Boom.
There's the jump kick.
Yeah, the kangaroo kick, as it's been known. So I want to know, Casey, you, especially with Daniel Miller here, who always has some insight and trivia and great behind the scene knowledge. The fact that there is publicity photos, and is it just publicity photos of, there's photos of Kong, Mechani-Kong, and Gorosaurus on the set of the North Pole, but was there ever a point in the movie where the three of them are going to be on set together or be in a scene together, or is it just for the publicity photos?
I'm not exactly sure if there was going to happen. It might have been toyed with during pre-production as they were planning out the story, but I do think that the shots of Gorosaurus with Kong and Mechani-Kong in the Arctic were for publicity. I mean, they're even featured on the 1970s re-release poster for the Champion Matsuri Festival, which ran toward the mid to late 70s. But yeah, it is food for thought, definitely. And you're right that they did get extra use out of him in Destroy All Monsters, where he became a more prominent character, even if it were in a supporting role. I do like how he's the throwback to the T-Rex fight in the original King Kong, which also ends with Kong basically ripping his jaw open like he did with the Tyrannosaurus.
I like the bubbling out of the mouth.
Yes.
I love that. I'm like, you poor bastard, you've just had your freaking jaw snapped.
Yes.
But these are the photos I'm talking about. So that one is on set. So as you can see, like you say, it probably is publicity for. But I find this photo interesting.
I think that's just publicity still.
I think it was just a case of one of the days they were filming on the Arctic set was the day that the publicity photos were scheduled.
Very true. I do think though the film might have been better if they had a three-way fight.
I agree.
Yes,
I mean, they also said, like I also heard that Linda Miller did not actually meet Haruo Nakajima-san until he was in the Kong suit for promotional reasons, I think. And she said that's the only time she met him. Besides when they met back in 2016, but yeah, there were some photos like with her and Kong, like there you go.
Yeah, that's
and then
that's a famous take right there too. That picture there.
There's
Yeah,
Ishiro
some more.
Honda.
Yeah,
was-
some more behind the scene photos. These ones are courtesy of Mr. Jedi Granville,
Hmm.
who was always in
Yeah.
there to help us tell the story when we do these. Mate, I have to say, I think that is the lamest fucking sea serpent I have ever seen.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Well, that might have been something that inspired the 76 version where King Kong battles a more realistic snake-like creature, you know. Maybe they got the idea from this film, you know.
Possible.
Yeah.
But go on, you were
Yeah.
saying the sci-fi, you had some more to it?
No. Yeah, no, that's it. That was just like just a little bit of more information
Okay.
on some of the, because they didn't have the promotion. There was promotion, but I guess when I interviewed her, she said she didn't remember a lot.
Mhm.
So, but it's so good. That's pretty much it. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Kevin.
So, as the film progresses, we're now at the point where Kong has now met his new heroine, the lovely Linda Miller. And I have to say, the scenes with her, she's quite naive. She's like, doesn't really take it all in. It's other people that are having to basically tell her, you know, Kong's attracted to you, and she doesn't know how to take it, kind of thing. And she then builds a beautiful bond with Kong. And I think what helps is the fact she's a great actress.
Yes. I mean, it's pretty.
So-
I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, because like I say, it's as I say again, when I first saw this, I had no idea, and that's the thing. I mean, you don't know how old these people are when they do these films, or how you know what their characters like that. But when you find out how old they are in terms of acting and everything, and then you find like, wow, she was only that young. It makes you realize that some people just had an inert reaction to emotion, and I think she just did a good job. Now, as Daniel was saying before, I wish no, it was Tony was saying that voice in the dub American version, I for the longest time thought that was Miss Miller's voice for the longest time, until I actually met her and realized that, wait a minute, she sounds different. And I found out that was a dub voice. I was like, why would you dub her voice? The American version. Why would you do that? She speaks English. Why are you even dubbing that? Is her voice too strong, or is it just because it's more not so silly sounding in the terms of that? Because that voice sounds more like, oh, I need to be rescued by some strong ape or anything like that. Miss Miller's voice is nothing like that. Her voice is a little bit more stern and more,
And I think that's why they did it. They wanted it to have a more youthful voice. Not that there's anything wrong with her voice. She has quite a normal. When I do my interview with her when it's released on Monday, you'll get to hear her voice. She's but I think because she has a very firm voice, like a bit of authority voice as well. Like it's very, but a very calming voice at the same time. Maybe our voice wasn't like that cutesy kiddie version that they were wanting, and because of that, they put a dub on it. She's even mentioned, I believe, a number of times in interviews that she wasn't happy that our voice was dubbed, and it's a shame that there wasn't a version or an opportunity for her to redub her voice for the film to give it a more realistic feel to it.
So I had a question. For everyone here who knows about it. So it's just the American dub that her voice is it's just dubbed in the American version. The Japanese version is her voice, or did they?
No, they dubbed
or
that.
did they keep?
It's
there's two different voice actors.
Yeah.
redubbing already English speaking voice actors is strangely more common than you'd think. Look at the Japanese language version of Godzilla 1984, then the international version, which is a straight English dub. The Parliament scene where they're discussing with the Soviets and U.S. ambassadors, they redubbed the U.S. ambassador with a worse voice actor than was in the original cut of the film.
Yeah.
Say,
And Biollante
It's
as well.
fucking
The
bad,
American
bad.
agents, they were also dubbed over from their original English actors.
Wouldn't it have been hilarious, since we've talked about redubbing, if the take, like we've mentioned, because he looks like Doctor Who, they actually got a British actor to voice Doctor Who in this.
It would have been brilliant.
that would have been interesting.
Like,
Yeah.
here's a question: Who can remember what year did the first Doctor Who film come out? Not Doctor Who film, the first James Bond film come out. Was it in the 60s?
It was
Yeah, it was
60,
60 something.
Yeah.
62.
Yeah.
So you can honestly see a change in filmmaking. So obviously, because this is a co-production between Toho and an American company, because probably the Doctor, no, sorry, I keep saying Doctor Who, because of the success probably of James Bond, and then films suddenly taken off, and like these espionage, spy thrillers were now the new thing. They wanted to make a kaiju movie that embodied that, so they maybe could appeal to another audience. And at the same time, the villain in the very first, not Doctor Who, James
Dr.
Bond was Doctor No. So I think even though it might have been a coincidence that they wanted to call this villain Doctor Who without realizing that there was a one in Britain, I think they called him Doctor Who because they were trying to capture on the Doctor No from
Yeah,
that
I
film.
can see that. I can see that.
And
Yeah.
I think that's what generally happened. So let's speed things along and get cracking with this plot. So the giant ape gets into an intense fight with a giant dinosaur, Gorosaurus, and a sea serpent. He falls in love with Lieutenant Susan Watson, played by Linda Jo Miller, following in the footsteps of Anne Darrow from 1933's King Kong. Doctor Who subsequently goes to Mondo Island to abduct Kong and bring him back to his base in the North Pole. Kong is hypnotized by a flashing light device and fitted with a radio earpiece, which looks like an oxygen tank on the side of his ear,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
which I found fucking bizarre. But anyway, that's just me.
The first Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
technically, you're right.
Electricity.
See, it did some. See, this film did something Star Trek didn't do.
Yeah.
So, King Kong is hypnotized by a flashing light device and fitted with a radio earpiece, who commands Kong to receive Element X from the cave. Problem with the earpiece ensues, and Who has to kidnap Susan Watson, the only person who can control Kong. After Watson and her fellow officers are captured by Who, Madame Piranha unsuccessfully tries to seduce Nelson to bring him over to her side. Eventually, Kong escapes and swims all the way to Japan, where the climactic battle with Mechani-Kong transpires. The two giants face off at the Tokyo Tower in the final. Kong prevails and destroys Mechani-Kong and kills Who and his men. The Kong triumphantly swims back to his island home. So that is basically the rest of the plot. So overall, as the plot progressed, what would you say is your favourite moment in the movie? Like your favourite elements? We'll start with Doctor. I was gonna say we'll start with Doctor Who.
You got so much Who in you right now, Kevin.
Who?
Right now, Doctor Who can go and fuck himself around.
Okay.
But Mr. DJ Anubis can take the floor.
Like I said, I definitely like the introduction of Gorosaurus. That was kind of cool to see where his origin came from because I really never knew that. Linda Miller was amazing in this. The only thing I probably dislike about this film, and even though it's a key element to the plot, is the constant, like she had to really direct Kong like all the time for everything. Like to me that was a bit much, because it was always like, no, Kong, do this. No, Kong, do that. No, don't do that, Kong. Come back here. Just way too much of that going on. It just was really weird.
You mean like this?
But,
I love that. I love when he runs.
That's a good.
That's my favorite running scene.
Look, he's right with the car too.
Oh God!
Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Remember last night where this doesn't affect me?
Oh wow, he's got disco eyes.
Right.
Instead of disco duck, disco ape.
Yep.
Jedi knows what I'm talking about.
Yep.
We're old enough for that.
We're definitely old enough for that.
This is a fun movie. I do like this movie a lot. That was really the only issues I had, but Linda was amazing in this, and even
Definitely.
Takarada, like we talked about earlier. Like I'm surprised I've seen him so much, but he's kills at every role he's in. So I really like him as an actor as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me on that.
How about Mr. Tony of the Dead?
Overall, I really did enjoy this movie. I enjoyed it a lot more than when I watched King Kong vs. Godzilla. I felt like obviously Kong is really very much the hero. Like Anubis said yesterday, like he's more of a hero, and Godzilla is like more of a anti-hero. And he definitely is. He's very likable too, and I'm glad that's not Linda Miller's voice because it's terrible. Like I just wanted to make fun of it the whole time. Like, wait, you're going to interview her? I can't. But then it's like, oh, it's not her voice. Kong, I sleep and eat in there.
Yeah,
Kong,
Kong,
dude. Bro, even when I was a kid, that voice kind of annoyed me a little bit. I'm just like, no, man, that can't be her voice.
Is it me, or does anyone else get a little bit reminded of Velma from Scooby Doo when they heard that? Or is it
yes,
just-
God,
yes.
Now I could see that. Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I said before, I didn't know there was a Mechani-Kong, and I thought it was cool to see. Definitely Mecha Godzilla was a lot scarier, but it was still cool to see them fight. Unfortunately, he fell apart at the end. But I don't know. Is there another one with him in? Did they rebuild him and they made another one, or
no? Mechani-Kong only makes.
Can I just give Enoch a shout out for the Sleestack Avatar, Land of the Lost? That's so cool. Good job, my friend.
Yeah,
Good job.
Yeah.
Land of the Lost. My favorite part in the movie. I don't know. I mean, that fight in the beginning was good, but I really don't know. I just everything like the whole thing was actually good. Like I actually like the humans in this. I like the stories going behind. I like that it was a little bit more of a bad guys and good guys and spies and stuff. Like she even had that thing that came out of her hat to put in her ear, and the lipstick was like to talk into, like a spy thing. That was kind of cool. I mean, the submarine, first off, I'll never be caught dead on a submarine. If I am on a submarine, I would be dead, but like, let's just say I would never be on it. But the fact that thing had a hover car on it, and that's how they got over the island, and that was fantastic. I loved it, even though it looked like a little car. And I still thought it was fantastic. I loved it. I wish they would have done more with the submarine.
Bless me.
Bless you.
Bless you. Because I would like to see what else they have on that thing. But yeah, it was very entertaining. Linda Miller did a great job. She wasn't just a typical woman on the ship and she can't do anything. They made her an important part of the plot and everything, so that was good.
Well, technically, they made her a strong female role model. That kind of
Yeah.
showed, it wasn't forced. It wasn't like poor me. She
Right.
actually come a strong, like a real strong female lead.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Like,
like we watched like
it wasn't like thrown down the throat like the damsel in distress.
yeah. Well, that's nowadays everything's just thrown in your throat. But back then it was pretty bad when they like. It's obvious like she's just eye candy. Like women wear eye candy in movies, and she wasn't. I mean, she's not just eye candy. I should say, she's a good actor. And then the other leading lady, that Madam X or Piranha, she's fantastic too. What happened to her? Like I was upset. I was like, oh come on, I liked her character. I like her. I didn't want her to like die. But yeah, it was very enjoyable.
I've got a theory. They set that up because basically, you had one character who basically was a villain, but then got like a redemption arc, which is, Madame Piranha. She kind of knew the errors of her ways and thought, right.
Yeah.
But Doctor Who was the real villain.
Yeah.
So, because he was the real villain, they killed him off, but then he had such an amazing death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they wanted to show you his death and the blood and the kill.
Which was kind of gory for 67 in a way,
I was going to say, it's pretty graphic, even for if this was a kids' movie back then. That was very graphic and very, I don't want to use the word extreme, but it went there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. So, what's your thoughts, Tony, or sorry, not Tony, Anthony? What's your overall thoughts?
Well, first, I want to throw one out there. He had to get the real Kong because the radiation from Element X messed with the circuitry of the mechanical Kong. How did he not think it wouldn't do the same thing for the control device on actual Kong?
He didn't.
That's just one thing that's always stuck with me, but it's a overall fun movie. I had some gripes, like it's for some reason it just always felt anticlimactic to me that Mechanical Kong gets destroyed when his control device gets destroyed. Then when he's pretty much inactive, Kong basically pulls him off the tower and he falls apart, but that was still a pretty fun sequence, and it was kind of nice to see Kong, survive climbing up a tower, but to climb
yeah.
had a pretty satisfying end, even when they sent Kong after an attack at the submarine at the end to get revenge, and then he gets to go home. My favorite moment would be the fight with Gorosaurus, but this is a fun 60s Toho film.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Why does he always have to swim home? Why can't they just give him a lift? They're the one who takes him out of there. And this is him swimming back. I have to get home.
Well, remember, Susan Watson's trying to call him back, and the guy's like, no, he's done with us. He's like tired of this bullshit. He's going home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's calling it a day.
What does he think he's going to do with her anyway?
Definitely.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Did you ever see that smile King Kong had with Sybil Shepherd?
Mr. J. Cole, your thoughts on King Kong Escapes?
Movie was good. I enjoyed the battle scenes between him and Gorosaurus and Mechani-Kong. Overall, I enjoyed the film.
Do you have a favorite moment?
Oh Lord, favorite moment. Probably when they're fighting on the tower. Kong and Mechani-Kong are fighting on the tower, and they're just like, ding, 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 like playing fucking robots.
Mm, I could definitely
Yes.
see that.
Definitely, I can see that as well.
But I will say this: I like the Japanese King Kong versus Godzilla better than the
Same.
American version. But since I've never seen the Japanese version of King Kong Escapes, right now this version's good enough.
Yeah, sci-fi century.
Well, you guys already got a little. You guys already said a lot of good points. I mean, all the battles were good. The storylines were good. The spy aspect and Hama Mie being a Bond girl and Akira Takarada being pretty much the face of Toho at the time, and Rhodes Reason making his debut in a Japanese movie, and then Madame
Such a
Piranha.
beautiful woman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then I just wanted to add this. I forgot to, now that I thought about it, when you guys remember the scene where they have them in that room where that room is starting to get cold and starting to freeze and everything.
Yeah.
When they go in, when Doctor Who goes in there and to take out Akira Takarada's character, all that whole scene where Linda is screaming and yelling, that's actually her voice.
Yes.
That is actually
That
is actually her voice. And now that I think about it, seeing it again, I can tell that her voice is deeper than the woman they used to dub her voice in the film. So she does have a more not masculine, but she has a more like a straight voice, like a very strong voice for a female.
I would say like a deeper, authoritative voice, but soothing.
Yeah. But I just wanted to throw that out there. And above all that, everything was good, man. It's a fun film, I mean, it's a 60s Toho Showa film to the core, and co-production between the United States and Japan, and it was good, man. Everything was good. Linda Miller did great for her first acting debut, and yeah, I mean, it's a fun film, man. I mean, I have them all, so I going back to watch it and to revisit it was great.
Yeah. Daniel Miller.
I'm sort of on the same as Jake Horn in the sense that I prefer King Kong versus Godzilla a bit more than King Kong Escapes, but I do love King Kong Escapes for of course, how it intertwines the espionage, adventure, kaiju, and spy subplots into one film. The moments that I absolutely enjoyed in Escapes were Kong fighting Gorosaurus and the climactic battle at the top of Tokyo Tower, which I think because of Akira Ifukube scoring the music in that scene, it just makes it all the more powerful when you see the tower shaking, the Mechani-Kong trying to kick Kong off the tower and Kong fighting to stay on, and you just see that the girder structure is crumbling. It just can't take any more of the punishment until the Mechani-Kong ultimately falls after the control unit is disabled and just shatters into pieces, which I get about it being a bit anticlimactic, but it was entertaining either way. Now, the whole movie on of itself. Now, one misconception of this I'd like to clear up for those who think this. Some people have said that it's a sequel to King Kong versus Godzilla. It's not really. It's more of its own self-contained story, I think. Why people think it is a sequel is either because it's probably packaged with King Kong versus Godzilla, or the fact that it's a Toho produced movie. But I'm just going to say it's its own standalone thing. Now, this movie, I like about it is how the villains get their comeuppance. Although Madame Piranha, as Kevin said, does have her own redemption arc, and although she is killed in quite an unjust way, Doctor Who gets his comeuppance. Although his comeuppance is a lot more brutal and a lot more gory than what happened to Piranha.
Very graphic, more graphic
Yeah.
than I would expect. Especially
Yeah,
when
like
you know,
he's-
like I said, the first time I seen this movie was in this. So for me, it's more like like I felt like this was very much aimed at kids. Like it felt like more like an espionage fun film, but you could still potentially take your kids to. And then
Yeah.
you get the final scene with his death, and there's blood out. And he's like basically, he's like getting squashed against the back of the submarine or back of the ship with that metal, being squashed against with the metal containers and that. And you're seeing the blood, and you're seeing like he's basically being crushed to death. And I thought to myself, whoa, that totally isn't what I was expecting to happen.
Yeah.
You know,
But I
he
also
seemed
love
like
the
oh, I don't mean to cut you off, Dan. I was just thinking when he's talking about that, like
Mm.
the way Doctor Who and what's the main guy's name on the good guys? I guess you could say the
Nelson.
Commander
Nelson. Yeah, it almost like the way Who and him were together because they knew each other. Now it's almost like in a way like Batman and Joker kind of relationship.
Mm.
And it like that's what it felt like. He's like, "Oh, hey, been a long time since I seen you." It's like, "Yeah," and then like they look at the girl and she's like, I'm not here." They know her too, and then it's like, what's the background with them? Is that what movie is that from, or is that just?
I thought they were more like James Bond and Blofeld. Because one's trying to save the world and the other's trying to take over the world.
And one is trying to save the world and one's trying to burn it down in Joker and Batman.
Yeah.
But that's just what I'm saying. Like they have this like friendship in a way, but like neither one of them are going to kill each other. Well, maybe in this case, but
Yep.
Sorry,
Also
Dan.
like-
Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, it's okay. I was going to say that I liked the interaction between Doctor Who and his goons at certain points in the movie, like when Mechani-Kong fails to get the element X, or when he's arguing, "Why haven't we moved the boat? But we thought that you wanted us to capture Kong. You idiot! Move the boat!" Yeah.
I like how they were all matching too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one part too? He's like, let him out or something like that. And then they go, "Are you sure?" He's like, "He'll be fine. He'll listen." It's like they're like they question, like that's never a good thing to do in a movie. Like don't question the main bad guy.
Yeah.
Right.
That's very true. So, Jedi Grand Velle, you're up.
Well, everyone pretty much gave their favorite moments, but I would have to agree with like Jake and someone else. The tower scene is Tokyo Tower scene is like the cream of the crop of this film, knowing that you're on high. I'm about to say Godzilla. King Kong climbs a very tall structure, and that's an interesting way of
Nakatomi.
yes, right. there's no
Knock you off the top.
But the fact that that's a very interesting way of doing battle, on a very high structure, elevated like that, and any one of them can fall, which of course Mechani-Kong does fall, but it's a very structured thing and they're still climbing, because I'm thinking when I'm watching this, they're still climbing this damn thing. It's like, dude, you can only go so high. I mean, any higher, your fall is going to hurt you tremendously. It's like you got to do something that's going to not bring you down too hard. But I just love that moment. I think that moment really is a very well crafted sequence, considering what they did and what happened. He did it and everything with the sets and miniatures and the men in suits and everything. And I will say this: I got to point this out. We mentioned Miss Amamiya, her death scene. I got to say that's probably one of the most exaggerated death scenes I've ever seen someone do. I mean, when Doctor Who shoots her, I mean, it's so dramatic. I mean, it's just like so, just very thespian kind of acting. She's just like, oh, ah.
Well, that's what you call Bond girl acting.
Yes, and I'm just like, wow, that's just like right there, So, but I mean, I'm not saying it's over the top. It's just so. Like
who was the guy in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie? The vampire's like, oh,
well, that was
that's
Paul Rubens.
Yeah,
Paul Rubens. Thank you.
Well, it cannot be any worse than the acting from The Room.
Oh God!
You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
I couldn't even finish that movie.
Oh my God!
Dude, the only thing I like is like, oh, hi, Mark.
Yeah, right.
I did not hit her. I did not.
I did not.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
God. No, but no, the film, like I say, it's got some great moments in that film, and I feel it's kind of like what when Daniel said, it's kind of equal with King Kong versus Godzilla, but I feel this has a more richer storytelling in terms of what it escapes. It has much more structure with the characters and everything. I mean, well, like I said, we mentioned that the previous film was more comedy, even though this one has some comedy elements. I think it has more structure in terms of story.
Yeah.
Maybe because Miss Miller is in it, maybe that's the case.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And Takarada is in this as well. Another thing I think as well with Godzilla versus King Kong, just like Godzilla versus Kong 2021, the plot wasn't that deep. It wasn't that great. It was simply just a device to get them two together to fight. Like you said, like someone said yesterday, there was all this build up, and where they're going to fight, where they're not going to fight, then they finally let them fight, and you got your payoff. Where with this one, they tried to, it's not the best stories, but they at least tried to tell a story with Kong. And it's nice to know in, kaiju history, giant monster cinema history, that Toho at least got 2 films with King Kong.
Yeah.
And they were able to do their own movie and a mashup movie, which is great. Does anyone have any trivia or anything they want to mention about the film?
I don't got anything.
I was muted. I don't know if I have a question. Oh, I have a question. I don't know if it's not really trivia, but like when he was malfunctioning because he was too close to the element X and that, and he's like, obey me, Kong. Did he say no? Like I swear he went, like it was like a growl, but it was like he went, oh, like a no.
I cannot remember that.
If we go back, maybe it's just me, but I thought he said no.
He has a question, and I do think this is a good question as well. Obviously, Tony, I don't think you've seen this film yet, but if everybody remembers, you've got Invasion. That is very true. They did not pass the cigarettes out to kids in this one.
I bet they didn't, though.
But if anybody remembers, you've got Invasion of the Astro Monsters, and if you remember, the aliens in that series are known as the aliens from Planet X and from. It makes me wonder if the substance that they're looking for, the substance X, do you not think that's from outer space and it's crash landed on Earth, and it kind of leads up to the events in Astro Monsters?
Kind of like vibranium in Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying?
Yeah.
Said that? That's interesting theory.
That's true. That also might. Sorry.
On the subject of questions, This element X, it was supposed to be like so radioactive you can't get close to it. So how in the world did they get a no longer functioning Mechani-Kong out of there if it was that too dangerous to get close to?
Plot holes.
Well, look, I've kind of theorized this. This is just my theory on this. I think they got him out with very strong cables by somewhat shooting him into where he was at. It kind of wrapped around him and pulled him out. That's just a theory. But then again, if that's the case, then the damn thing that they pulled him out would break down also. So I mean, it's just as the professor said, plot holes. You know, it's yeah.
They probably did, like, I agree with Walter. They probably did the same kind of similar thing to how they captured Kong. They just wrapped like cables around his neck or his arms and then pulled them up. But they did it so fast that they did it before the radiation could affect the equipment.
I have a different theory. I think because they're bad guys, they don't give a shit about their henchmen. They just sent them in until they pulled them
Died of
out, and then they
radiation
probably
sickness.
died.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
even what's his name in Watchmen, he just killed everybody, that was working for him. Even
That's
his
very true.
I can't think of the thing's name, that like tiger.
Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian. No, not him. What's his pet name?
I didn't know that thing had.
Starts with a B, I think.
I should know.
Baratheon or whatever, that thing. He killed him too. So whatever they got to do to get their plan going, nobody's worth more to them. That's the way I look at it.
Yes. Well, as always, we're going to end this thing with ratings. So starting with Mr. DJ Anubis.
Definitely much better than King Kong versus Godzilla. Various reasons, but a lot more fun. Plot is a little bit more logical. And I think I gave King Kong versus Godzilla a 7, so I'm going to give this one an 8.5.
Mr. Tony the Dead.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one way more. It was a lot more fun. It was still like, geared toward kids, but not like super fun kid time. It's like more for the adults, I would say. But like, yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to see it. I would definitely watch this one again. It was fun discussing it. It always is, like I say, it's always more fun discussing with everybody because, I don't know any of this shit. And then I learn things, and then like, some of this stuff is hard to follow at times. So you all bring it into, so it's very nice to, have help with that because I'm so stupid. But yeah, I would say I gave King Kong vs. Godzilla 6.5, I believe. I would probably give this one an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Mr. Anthony Jordan.
Let me think. I'll just go with a even 7.
Nothing else to add?
I pretty much said everything up. Everything's been said about it. I like it, but just like things like how the final battle went felt anticlimactic to me. So it's just, listen, I actually am in the boat where I like King Kong versus Godzilla just a little bit more, but I think a 7's a respectable score for this one.
Yeah. Mr. J. Cole.
8.5 for me.
No problem. Mr. Sci-Fi Century.
I'll just say this: like, I did like King Kong versus Godzilla a little bit better because Godzilla was in it, but the fact that I was able to rewatch this, when I was older, and appreciating Linda Miller, Rhodes Reason, Akira Takarada, and the effort they put in Gorosaurus. So I think the story was much better and more solid in King Kong Escapes. So I gave King Kong vs. Godzilla an 8. So I'm gonna give King Kong escapes an 8.5.
Daniel Miller.
I'm actually going to rate this the same as I rated King Kong versus Godzilla, a 6.5 out of 10. What it has over King Kong versus Godzilla is the storyline, it has the characters, and if you've seen the American version, then this one has the better soundtrack because it's Fukube's original score, whereas King Kong versus Godzilla pretty much used recycle music from their libraries. But no, it's an interesting plot, interesting characters, a payoff which, as Anthony said, is a bit anticlimactic, but it's entertaining. And at the end of the day, both movies do exactly what movies should do: entertain. Good enough reason to rewatch both of them.
Yes, and that's all it's about. It's just about having fun, switching off, switch your brain off, watch these characters, these kaiju, just have fun and just enjoy what you're seeing on screen.
Watch an
Mr.
Allosaurus kangaroo kick a monkey, or watch a dinosaur set fire to a train station.
Mm-hmm. Yep, watch King Kong climb, a tower building.
Yeah.
Well, do you think they climbed that tower at the end as like a shout out to because what was the original RK radio or?
Yes, RKO picture.
Yeah. Do you think there was kind of a little shout out to them?
I believe it was. Yes.
Yeah.
Of course it will. And let's face it, because it is mostly based in Japan, they don't really have a skyscraper like they do. Well, they might do now, but back in that time in the 1960s, Japan didn't have a skyscraper like the Empire State Building. So they had the giant Tokyo radio tower. So it made perfect sense because it's a national landmark for them to climb that. The only other thing they could have claimed would be Mount fucking Fuji. But I doubt that would have entertained in an American audience. To have Kong climb another structure was the perfect way to go.
Call from 85331.
Hello?
Who's that? Who is that?
Yeah.
That was
So
Jake.
we'll give Jake some privacy when he's talked to the strippergram that's coming to his house.
Da-da-da-da-da. I am your singing telegram. Bam. Right?
So, Mr. Jedi Granville, you're
calling about your car's extended warranty.
Yeah. Let me get on topic, boy. Get on topic. I would definitely
that's what
give
he
this.
said.
Yeah. Oh my God. See, I wouldn't even try to do that, but then again, this movie, yes. Even though I love King Kong versus Godzilla, I do feel I like this one a little bit better because, like I say, when I saw this one back to back with King Kong versus Godzilla that night, I just felt something more to it, I mean, story wise and everything. And I feel like this film is, I ain't gonna say superior. I'll just say it took it to a next step in doing things because I think they had more advantages, as far as suit making, miniatures, and everything, and whatever, And then I feel that, the different actors who in there portrayed their various parts, and they did what they had to do to make the storyline very well structured. So I'm gonna give it a higher rating than King Kong versus Godzilla. I'm gonna give this one 8.8.
Ooh, 8.8. I haven't heard that before.
Yes.
Nice.
I'm gonna be honest. I love this way better than Godzilla versus King Kong. There's just something about it because obviously I am a big fan of British espionage films, like all the James Bond movies and things of that nature. I used to love all those kind of movies, and because of that, and it has a mixture of that element alongside the kaiju element, I just think it It has an interesting story. Linda Miller, for her first time ever acting on a big screen production, she hit it out the park running. And of course, the rest of the cast were phenomenal. Yes, there is some issues with some of the suits and some of the plot details, but if you take all that into consideration and put that to the side, it's a really well structured, great film with a great villain. And the human villain takes center stage over the kaiju villain, which I think was the point. Why Mechani-Kong didn't really show any menacing movement or have any kind of expressions. He was just there like an unthinking machine that was there to do other people's bidding, while behind the scenes you had Doctor Who running the show. So because of that, I'm going to rate this 9 out of 10.
Ooh.
Wow,
Because
take it up a notch.
because I
Kevin stepped
really
up
like
to the
this.
plate and whop.
Right?
Yes. So, with this being the third Kong movie that I have reviewed this week live with these amazing gentlemen, we're going to switch things up a little bit because coming tomorrow we're going to record it and then we're going to post it and it'll be up on the entertainment headquarters at some point tomorrow evening. We are going to look at another film featuring the lovely Linda Jo Miller, and we will be reviewing The Green Slime.
Green slime! Green slime! Sorry, I had to do that.
Keep going.
Yeah, no, that's
all I can
Fucking
say
Tony
is,
went all out, man. He's got like everything in the collection now.
Yeah.
It came
all I
up
can
saying
say
like,
is
they
I'm
might
glad. All I can say is I'm fucking glad I did not have my headphones full blasting me ears.
yeah.
Because I would have
Well,
collapsed,
Yeah, that was
Mr.
fucking
Jedi
loud.
Grando.
That was pretty fucking loud. Yeah,
I'm enjoying this month a lot more than I did in October. I'm not kaiju'd out.
Well, you see, you're more into the kaiju of the vampires. That's a
Well, we
good
missed
thing.
our King Kong versus the Vampire Woman. That's coming up soon.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
whatever.
So that's coming tomorrow, and then to end my guess, the first half of February, the first half of the entertainment headquarters lineup, where I will finally be interviewing the one and only Linda Jo Miller, and that interview. Yes, that interview will be premiering on Monday night. I will set it to be an instant premiere, and it'll probably. I think I'm gonna release it about 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
So
Release the Miller.
Release the Miller.
Sorry.
So that's coming up, and then once we end the first half of February in the month of Kong, we're then going back to our regular programming. So me and a handful of these guys, we will be going into the darkness for Mr. Tony of the Dead's birthday, where we will be reviewing a number of George A. Romero's Dead movies. We're also at the end of the month, me and DJ Anubis and anybody that would like to join us here, we will be doing a retro classic movie show, and we will be reviewing Starship Troopers. So that's what's coming up on the entertainment headquarters. But Mr. DJ Anubis, what is coming up on the Metal Tavern Radio?
Well, funny that this film had a somewhat Bond vibe, because for those that don't know, Mr. Alvin Werewolf and myself have started a new podcast series called the Silver Screen Savants. And last week we started with James Bond's Live and Let Die, which is now available for viewing if you haven't checked it out. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing it again. This time we'll have Mr. Anthony Jordan and Jedi Vale Grant with us as we do The Man with the Golden Gun. So we're going to kick off our second episode with that and more Bond. Next week, I'll be kicking my Kaiju Spotlight series back off, and I'll have Mr. Lambert joining me as we do Gorgo. And then, as he's already mentioned, on Friday on the Retro Movie Show, we'll be doing Starship Troopers. And then also next week, Actually, it might be 2 because Mr. Tony and Dead and I have been trying to do a couple of Ghouls of the Midnight series a week if we can. But the next one up is my pick, which will be special effects from 1984. And then we'll be doing that. So that'll probably show up on Wednesday or maybe that night on Sunday because we might just kick off and do his on Wednesday. So we'll see how it goes.
And,
then finally,
and I've just remembered since you've mentioned that, I decided I have picked my pick because me and Mr. DJ Anubis do the cinematic synergy. The cinematic synergy on his channel. Yeah, yes, it's his show where I get the co-host with him, and we will probably at some point, if I can find some time off in my damn work schedule, we'll be doing our next pick, which is my pick, which is Dante's Peak.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
With another Bond man, with another Bond guy.
Yeah.
True.
That's a great
and then
film,
just
man.
finally, I know that Sentry's going to mention it. We did Conan recently, the Barbarian review, but he's got one next week we're going to be doing for Ninja Scroll, which I'm really excited about to go do.
And I just want to say to that, congratulations to Sci-Fi Century, because it has had over 600 views.
Yes.
So congratulations.
Yeah,
That's our leader.
I mean that I wasn't really expecting at all, man. I was like, holy shit! And then, I wish I could have had more of you guys on there, especially Kevin and stuff. But I mean, you guys know I do it. I don't do it for the views, but I do it because hanging out with all you guys, it's therapeutic for me. We talk about what we love. We can always intermingle with what we agree with, what we don't agree with. We can fuck with each other and mess around and how do you say, do the banter and everything. But that's why I do it, man. But I'm surprised and I'm grateful that it's got it's going to close to 700. So I don't know where that came from, but it's all because of you guys too, the guys that join. It's all because everybody joins, man. Hopefully the rest of them that I do can get even past 200. I mean, I'm great. I'm happy with 150, man. But close to 700, I wasn't expecting that. But thank you, I appreciate it.
It's a classic movie, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. MrTonyoftheDead.
It's Green Slime tomorrow night on here. That's not live though, right? That's recorded.
Yes, it's going to be recorded, then it'll be uploaded.
Okay. Then we'll do.
I need a break from the lives. I'm fucking lived out.
I hear you. It's a pain in the ass to have to control that and keep it flowing. At least if you're recording, you can edit. I get it.
I think I need a couple of chilled nights.
Chilled nights. A couple of watch-alongs. That's what you need.
Yes.
Yeah.
No more lonely nights.
No. Ninja Scroll on the 20th. It's gonna be cool. My birthday on the 26th. I was going to join that Starship Troopers as well.
Yeah, that's the 21st.
Yep, the 21st.
6 p.m. Yeah, that's recording.
6 p.m. your time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else that can make it, you're more than welcome.
But other than that, I don't think I'm missing anything. That's about it. It's been fun.
Yeah, Mr. Anthony Jordan.
Well, Green Slime tomorrow, which I still gotta watch, and as Anubis said, Man with a Golden Gun, I still gotta upload my review of whichever Godzilla movie. I just destroy all monsters and then suffer through all monsters attack. I wanted both out of the way by the end of the week, but we lost the heater and I just didn't care. We got the heat back now, but that's about it for the time being.
Cool. And J. Cole, I know what you'll be doing. You'll be busting your ass at work and watching plenty of Ultraman and keeping the kaiju love alive.
I thought he was frozen there for a second.
I know. Me too. I thought,
Yeah,
is
this
he
dude.
frozen? What's he doing over there?
So we know what's going on on Sci-Fi's channel. Is there anything else coming up apart from Ninja Scroll? I know you want to do Event Horizons eventually.
Yeah. I'll try to
That's
do. I'm just having I don't know what the hell's going on with my freaking back, but I will be down for Ninja Scroll. I'm gonna suck it up. Me, Anubis, Walter, Tony of the Dead in his debut. Anthony, if you want to check it out, man. If you want to join me and Anubis, Walter, we're gonna watch it on StreamYard on Sunday. He was able to rip it onto so we can watch it on the StreamYard on a watch along. And if you want to hit it up. And that's about it, man. I just I'm gonna try to do with Kevin gets to his vacation time in March. We're gonna do Godzilla versus Gigan, and then hopefully at the end of this month, depending on if I can, I have some other appointments. We'll try to do Event Horizon, but Event Horizon is already on there, and then I already got everything done on that. I already got the videos, intro videos, everything done. I just gotta plan on what day, and I'll let everybody know. And Kevin, I'll try to get you on that one if I can. I'll get with people, who's gonna get on it, and that's about it, man. Godzilla versus Gigan will be in the beginning of March, depending on how I feel, man. I don't want to promise anything and then do the same shit, but I'm just hoping and praying, man, that I can get over all whatever I'm going through, man. But so far I'm trying to suck it up and just try to join as much podcasts. And like I said, Tony knows, man, and so does what do you call it, Kevin? What's up, Anubis?
I just want to say, Dr. Anubis here was just get plenty of bed rest and get your girlfriend to rub out your back. You'll be fine by next week.
There you go.
Yes, that's a good idea. I will take that under consideration. But yeah, man. I mean, hosting streams, man. It's not that. It depends on different people. I mean, it's not that hard on certain people. For me, freaking DJ Anubis makes it look easy, man. But when I do it, I'm like, shit. I gotta do this, do that. You gotta make sure you don't fuck up. You gotta make sure you don't do
this.
this.
Asshole over here. He makes everything look easy.
Well, actually, he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Well, I mean,
has been
but he
the
knows it.
hardest job. I might make
Yeah,
it
exactly.
look
It's it.
easy,
It's
but it's not easy. And honestly, I have to thank all of yous because I've only been doing this as a content creator for over just a year and a half now. Well, not even a year and a half, a year and a few months, and I was no good in the beginning. I always remember my first live. It was me in Sci-Fi. It was Jedi Grand Velle, and we did Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I thought it was a disaster, but it went okay. And I just think it's all about sticking to your guns, sticking to what you want, sticking to what you believe in, and just making it happen and making it work.
Yeah.
Yep.
And our
But
families
that's
grow
as far
up.
as that's it, man. Not about it. Yeah, I'm a 1 to 2 month streamer now, man. Sometimes that's just me because it's a lot mostly on the brain, man. But it's like it just gets really after a while when you do consecutively, it burns you out. But that's just me though. Anubis makes it look easy and Kevin makes it look easy. But that's all with me, man.
I still shit myself every time I do one of these. Because I'm just waiting for something to fuck up.
Yeah.
Well, things
Running
do.
without a
Yeah.
hitch.
Mr. Daniel Miller.
I said yesterday there's nothing solid at the moment, but I am working on my creative writing, and I'm also doing some illustrations, one of which, if that's okay with you guys, I do a bit of a tease.
Mhm.
Although it
One
is a work in
second.
Mhm.
Blow them up.
There you go.
All right.
Oh, that is a tease.
Okay.
That's such a tease.
Now, still a work in progress, but it is related to a thing I'm working on.
Very nice.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's good.
Much talent.
Interesting.
Yep.
Cool.
What'd you say? Was it
That's really good.
Baronex? Is that what you were saying?
Baryonyx.
Baryonyx, yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
And Mr. Jedi Granville, what's coming to your channel?
Well, kind of like with Daniel, it's a work in progress, but I hope to be up and running in another month or two and doing what you guys have been doing for the last year or two, broadcasting live streams or recordings in a very unique and beautiful way, expressing yourselves that goes beyond the call of duty of anyone who's trying to who's trying to express themselves in films, anime, gaming, or whatnot. And I'm not going to say if, when it comes to pass, I will have hopefully all of you on there, and we can just shoot the shit as we usually do on these other ones and just have a grand old time. But for that's for my channel. But what's coming up, at least for future wise, still in this month, I do have that green slime recording that we're going to do, and then I will be joining Anubis and Anthony and I can't say. Why can't I say his first part of it? I'll just say Connor. I'll just say that we're joining up to do the man with the golden gun live stream. And then, like I say, next week I got with Sci-Fi where we're going to be doing the Ninja Scrolls, which I'm very excited to do. Now, the Starship Trooper one, I don't believe I'll be able to attend that one because the time it's kind of like what something Tony said a while ago. Time zones suck. And I can't get there in time to join you guys because I will unfortunately be at work. If by some miracle we get a snowstorm and then it's like, hey, I can join you guys and it's not a problem. So I ain't got to worry about going to work and everything. I can join you guys. But other than that, that's pretty much what's going on future-wise. And like I say, when I do get up and running on my channel, best believe you're gonna see me go ham on this. So just get ready.
Yes, Mr. DJ Anubis, I believe you would like to add something.
Yeah, no, I was just I wanted to reference Alarando's Gunzen's comment here about the Common Rider. So, if you aren't aware, the guy that I do the Silver Screen Savant show with, he has another channel called Tokusatsu Action Land, and they talk a lot about this stuff. I'm not that well versed in Ultraman and all that stuff, but if you enjoy that kind of content, be sure to check out that channel. Now, I do have to apologize. I just got word that my mother-in-law is having some health issues, so Neko and I are going to have to run. So I do apologize for this. But I got a jet. So sorry, guys. But yeah, great show. Have a good night, and I will see you later.
Hope
See you
everything's
later.
good.
Peace out, man.
See you, Anubis.
Peace.
Take care. Right, so there we go.
Here we go.
So, as you see, some great content coming to everybody's channel, and this, as always, has been an amazing time with some amazing individuals. I love each and every one of these individuals. Are not just fellow content creators or kaiju loving badasses, they're also, more importantly, friends. And that's what matters. So, as always, as I always say, keep on loving all things entertainment, keep on loving all your movies, and of course, the most important thing that we can possibly do, and I think even Jedi Granville can agree, and that is keep the kaiju love alive. Good night, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And we'll catch you all in the next one. The end.